While 2021 may not offer really any major elections, there's one election that I do believe Republicans could seriously make an extremely close race in one of the most Democrat parts of the nation, New York City. Now, today we're going to be taking a look at the New York City election and going over what could possibly happen for the Democrats and what the election could seriously look like. Now, again, as of now, there's really no real Republicans running. You go on the Wikipedia, I think there's one or two that's running, and they're kind of shit candidates. So you really don't have much Republicans as of now of this video, but hopefully we can run somebody decent to finally try to flip New York City, because surprisingly, it's not that hard of a city to flip when you look at demographics, when you look at issues. It's a pretty easy state to flip, or city I should say, because with New York and New York City, but all of New York as a whole, they really don't care about social policies. Yes, that's a weird thing, but in New York City, in New York, they really do not care about social policies. And I'll show you an example. Let's go to Andrew Yang, who, if this was 2019, 2018 Andrew Yang, who was like mostly pro-life, who was anti-immigration, who was all this stuff, I would support him. But he's gone full-on corporatist, but you get the point. And you look through his policies, and you notice a very interesting trend. They're all related to either the economy, health, education, or one environmental policy. Nothing about abortion, nothing about gay rights. It's mostly fiscal economic issues. Alright? And it's a very interesting trend with all these candidates. None of these issues are on social issues. You go to this clown, who I hope doesn't win the Democrat nominee. He's awful. And again, you really don't see mention of any social problems in the first part. But then you go down here and then you find, strengthen immigration. But that's like second page stuff. Most of this stuff is economic issues. And this is where I'm saying Republicans could make a serious push at. If you run somebody that's more left-wing on economic issues, right, but run somebody that's actually law and order and a social conservative, you can legitimately try to flip New York City. Now, the last time New York City was red was 2009 with Michael Bloomberg, but we all know Bloomberg wasn't a Republican. So really, the last Republican was Rudy Giuliani, who was an actual Republican who won in New York City, and he was a law and order candidate. And he was a weird libertarian-esque candidate. But still, if you run somebody that's more left-wing on economic issues, you could make it a serious contention of a city. Because again, most of these policies are focused on the economy. And even past elections, it's mostly economic issues. Now, with Andrew Yang, his biggest focus is, of course, COVID relief, a safe and fair city. That's just garbage, but affordable city. You notice they are focused on trying to make New York City more affordable, less expensive, and more safer. Most of that is economic issues. Why can't Republicans get more left-wing, well, I should say more populist wing, on economic issues? If they would do that, this is a city that could seriously flip. And I'll show you. So, in 2013, this was the precinct map of New York City's election. A lot of blue. Lots of blue. Blue is, of course, for Bill de Blasio, and red is for the Republican. But then you go over to the 2017 map. Still a lot of blue, but you notice there was some red growing. And in particular, the Queens, a little bit of Brooklyn, huge in Staten Island, and a bit of Manhattan went a little bit red. And even the Bronx went a little bit more red. So this is where I'm telling people that Republicans could make a gain with a lot of those light blue areas. And you look at ethnicity and race, and look what demographics there are. Either they're white, which should be a group that Republicans do significantly better with, black, especially in the southern part of Queens and northern part of Bronx, a lot of Hispanics and Latinos, especially Puerto Ricans, and especially other Latino immigrant groups, mostly in the Queens and pretty much all of the Bronx. And these are groups that are trending more Republican, and you got some Asian here and there, and really the only part that's majority white is mostly Staten Island, some parts of Brooklyn, and most of Manhattan. So the question is this: why can't Republicans make a serious push for most of the northern part of New York City? And even the center part of it. There's a lot of Hispanic and black areas that Republicans could make a push for. And guess who did that? Donald Trump. Look at the Bronx. A 12-point swing Republican. This is one of the most Hispanic counties in the entirety of the nation, or boroughs, whatever you want to call them. The Queens, 8.5-point swing. Manhattan, 2.5. Brooklyn, 7. Hudson, which I believe is actually part of New Jersey. Nope, never mind. I'm having a brain fart. Sorry about that. But anyways, you get the point that all of New York City did swing Republican. And this is what I'm telling people, that you run an economic populist and try to get those lighter blue areas up for grabs. If you do that, run a populist economic candidate with social conservatism, you would most likely flip New York City. And the reason I'm saying social conservatism could win is a lot of these groups, like Hispanics, like Asians, like blacks, are usually way more conservative on social issues than whites, even in the most Democrat city in America. And that's what I'm telling people. You can win New York City if you run the right candidate, and if the Democrats botch this. Now, I don't like Yang anymore. If he was 2018, 2019 Yang, I would be fine with him. I would probably support him. But he's become a corporatist. But even then, if the Democrats are smart and pick Andrew Yang, who's actually focused on getting cash relief to families, trying to make the city more affordable, make it safe, then I highly doubt you would probably get anywhere close to a win. Like, you could see some parts of the Queens get a bit more Republican, but that's a stretch even then. But if you run a garbage candidate, if the Democrats pick this clown right here, Lori Sutton, and any other of these clowns, whose one of our main focuses is strengthening our sanctuary city when most people are against it, that's not going to end up well. You're going to see a lot of these light blue areas flip if it's not Yang. And if the Republicans run a good candidate that's more left-wing on economic issues, doesn't have to be a leftist, but can be a populist, that's a law and order candidate, and that's a social conservative, you could win New York City. You just need the right candidate. And again, my opinion is this: at that point, you have to focus on the Queens, Manhattan, parts of Brooklyn, and running up turnout in Staten Island. If you can do that, Republicans would probably flip New York City. Now again, right, this is if Republicans don't screw this up. If the Democrats pick a garbage candidate. Because there's a lot of areas which could flip red. But here's what's probably going to happen. The Democrats aren't going to pick Yang. They're going to pick this clown right here, or one of their losers. But the Republicans botch it and try to pick some libertarian. And they get wiped out. So this is a chance for Republicans to be like, hey, we want to be the party of the working class. We want to be the party of the lower income class, the working class. We're going to fight for making the city affordable, making the city safer. If the Republicans run on that message with a good candidate that's populist economically, I have no doubt in my mind they could flip New York City in a mayor election. But again, you need an actual populist to run in New York City, and so far there's really nobody planning on running as of now that could seriously flip the state. But you get the point. This is why Republicans should focus on economic populism. Because you can continue to make parts of New York City more and more Republican, slowly. But anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you guys did, hit the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, and yes, follow all my alt tech media down below. Follow me on Twitter, follow me on all that stuff. And yes, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys the next stream, video, whatever. God bless you all, and we'll see you guys next time.